If you're curious to hear a little music from our guest Carla Lucero, who we spoke to in our most recent episode, check out E4TT's annual concert of music by women and non-binary composers, Midnight Serenades, on January 25th. Welcome to For Good Measure, an interview series celebrating diverse composers and other creative artists, sponsored by a grant from the California Arts Council. I'm Nanette McGuinness, Artistic Executive Director of Ensemble for these times. In this week's episode, we continue our conversation with Dawn Norfleet, who we spoke to in January 2022. Has the pandemic affected your creative process or caused compositions to be canceled or postponed?
Well, interestingly, I got my first two commissions during the pandemic. Yeah. Well, one was the ACO commission, the American Composers Orchestra Commission, and that one was I composed two pieces for vocalist and pianist Clarice Assad. And
I like her music.
Yeah, now that was intimidating because she's a composer too. So, but she was so amazing, and she even created little videos of of her performing my compositions. So what I'm dealing with now is being I miss performing. I miss working with people, collaborating in person with people, with humans. And in LA, between COVID and just the lack of spaces for people to perform, it's causing me to think of alternate ways of getting my music out. So that's kind of where I am now. Like, okay, I am a creative person. Now it's great to compose, but I also want to create with human beings.
What do you have coming up that you're excited about? What are you working on?
For my next few months, I'll be kind of putting my academic hat on, my scholarly hat, teaching classes. I have the college course, like the jazz history course, teaching remotely 200 students. And then I'll have my teaching artist load, which is teaching fifth graders. So that tends to kind of take some of my energy, getting other people to create, and then the academic world, that's a whole other kind of thing. That I still use creativity, in how I teach. So as far as like composition, I have the GLF CAM composition to think about, and I'm looking forward to finding out what my ensemble will be, and carving space in my schedule like I did when I was in grad school. That's something I'm going to need to do, like to carve space to compose, to just be free and just write. So right now I do record my thoughts, on my phone, and then, I still have manuscript paper in different places around my home, and just being open to that. But I am going to have to actually schedule time to do that. So.
Right. Time management, as we get older especially, but all the way through, to be honest, to be creative. If we don't make space for it, right?
Yeah, especially when you don't have a specific deadline looming. then I'm thinking, okay, well, I have to do this. I have to do all of this other stuff. I have to, But even I find that the more I have to do, the more stuff I actually get done. So it's just everything is just flowing all at once. So so in the slower times, I have to also just use that as the reset time. Even though I might not be able to, drive up the coast like I used to be able to do, The other concern was when it was fire season, the places that I wanted to drive to, they were prone to, be hit with, fire. Instead of moping when it's slower and being impatient, to embracing that time a bit more, and using that time as a different kind of reset, because when the activity hits, it's going to hit, and then yeah.
Thank you for listening to For Good Measure, and a special thank you to our guest, Dawn Norfleet, for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast by clicking on the subscribe button, and support us by sharing it with your friends, posting about it on social media, and leaving us a rating and a review. To learn more about E4TT, our concert season online and in the Bay Area, or to make a tax-deductible donation, please visit us at www.e4tt.org. This podcast is made possible in part by a grant from the California Arts Council and generous donors like you. For Good Measure is produced by Nanette McGuinness and Ensemble for These Times and designed by Brennan Stokes, with special thanks to audio engineer extraordinaire Stephanie Neumann. Remember to keep supporting equity in the arts and tune in next week for Good Measure.